Cuphead, for the few that don't know, is a hand-drawn action platformer that wears its high difficulty as a badge of honor. Its old-school cartoon aesthetics and focus on gameplay over narrative drew me in, but what really got me to buy the game at release was definitely the co-op. Kicking off the co-op campaign, I was given the role of Cuphead as the opening story text flew by. I was honestly a little afraid that Austin wouldn't be able to jump in until I cleared a stage or two like other games. Luckily, the drop-in drop-out feature was available after the intro ended, and we got to traverse the tutorial stage together. While the first player takes on the role of Cuphead, the second player plays his brother Mugman, and really, outside of the colors, there's not any major differences.
One of the mechanics of the game is that if you see something pink, you can do a parry jump, which basically means you have to jump and then hit jump again on it to bounce and stay in the air longer, gain a charge for your special, and if it's an enemy or projectile, you clear the thread. For the latter, this adds a really cool risk-reward system that at times feels almost necessary to take advantage of. These parries play into co-op as well, as when your buddy dies, you have to perform a parry jump on his heart to revive him. This is harder than it sounds, as the more you die, the faster you fly off screen.
What we probably should have considered, and didn't really know about the game, was that it had been rebalanced from E3 2015 with 3 types of stages: run and gun levels, airplane shooting levels, and my favorite, boss fight levels. The run and gun levels play out like you probably expect, but I did find some parts more difficult as 2 people than it would have been as just 1. Specifically on a level part of the way through the adventure, there are mosquitoes holding little leaf umbrellas for you to jump on. The catch is, as you jump on each one, a fireball is shot within a few seconds from off screen and immediately destroys the plant and damages whoever is currently stuck on the leaf. This forces us to take turns crossing these death traps, which, while making it feel like we're working together more, slow down the breakneck pace we were used to.
If you're just here for the boss fights, a lot of these levels are optional, but you may still want to tackle them as they give you coins you can use to buy new stuff in the shop.
The second type of play, airplane levels, are basically just boss fight levels, but with airplanes. This change of gameplay was refreshing and interesting, and I was amazed they could capture the bullet hell feel of an arcade shooter so well. On the upside, since we could both freely move around and it was easy to recognize who we were and what we were shooting, the confusion and mistakes that happened on the other levels faded away and we could coordinate a lot better. Finally are the boss fight levels, and this is where a lot of Cuphead's co-op offering really shines and completely frustrates. I, for one, had an extremely hard time remembering who and where I was while staring at the screen. A lot of the time we had to dodge an attack or mechanic in exactly the same way, such as having to duck or standing in the same spot. I'll often see Austin crouch down, think it was me, and lose a hit point. This is of course user error on my end, but with so many colors, projectiles, and pure nonsense flying in every battle, it became increasingly more difficult to escape without too much damage. One unique thing about co-op that I'm not entirely sure about is the boss's hit points seem to scale dynamically depending on how many people are alive. While not 100% sure on this, I did notice when fighting the bug boss at the end of the previously mentioned run and gun level, if Austin and I were alive at the same time, it would take 10 to 15 special shots to kill it. However, if only one of us were alive, it would only take about 5 to 6 special shots. Again, this is just a guess, and since I haven't played the game on single player to test it out more yet, can't be taken with a grain of salt. Another great part about co-op was how we could both get different guns and power-ups and try out exactly what they did before the other bought it. In some occasions, having a combination of guns like the chaser and shotgun made some encounters a bit easier. In fact, having different weapons also made it a bit easier to tell each other apart.
Guns and power-ups almost never make the game easier in all ways, as any gains usually come with drawbacks. Longer range and tracking bullets lower attack power, requiring you to dodge attacks and stay alive longer. The shotgun hits hard but has a very short range, requiring you to get up close and personal. Weapons and items are good or bad in different situations, and using something like weak homing shots is great when there are weak targets flying all around the screen or you're constantly having to point away from the boss while dodging other things. There are exceptions, like the smoke grenade, which allows you to be completely invincible while dashing. I never really found a drawback there, but it almost seemed like it was intended to be the default charm slot item.
Cuphead proves that local co-op games aren't dead, and I've been considering replaying the game on expert mode if Austin's up for it. Difficulty-wise, I put it a bit higher than something like Hyper Light Drifter, but since each encounter is so quick and hectic, it doesn't feel nearly as abusive when both of us die.
The game even shows you how far into the level or boss you were, making it even harder to quit when you see how close you were to the next phase or the end. If you're worried about the difficulty, each boss does have a simple mode option, which removes some obstacles, lowers the number of projectiles, and excises some boss phases entirely. While much easier than normal mode, it still isn't a walk in the park, but it's doable. I'd only recommend this difficulty if you're slamming your head against a wall and ready to quit forever. Boss forms and mechanics you'll miss out on otherwise are really cool, and feel more satisfying to overcome.
Honestly, the whole time we played, Austin and I couldn't stop laughing, shouting in rage, or being shocked by the new crazy bosses we took on. I know we both had a blast with it and can definitely say we highly recommend it.